men and women are very different with how they fall in love. Like men fall in love through their eyes and women fall in love with their ears. That's why men lie and women wear makeup. You ever heard of that before?
I have not, but it makes sense. Yeah,
It's funny, isn't it? Right.
it
We
is.
just
Yeah.
look at a woman and that's all that's required for us to feel sexual arousal. But for women to feel sexual arousal, usually takes more time. They have to sort of feel you out, see what it feels like to be with you and to hear you.
You are now tuning in to the Evolution Daily Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Evolution Daily Podcast. This is an event. This podcast should be the best part of your week. And if it's not, then I'm not doing my job. How could you not enjoy this podcast? Listen up. Listen to me. I recently took the Dark Triad test. If you guys listened to the episode with Mo Abbasi 2 weeks ago, I think, he talked a lot about the Dark Triad test. Make sure you listen to that episode. I took it after Mo had me take it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to link the exact test that I got down below this episode here on YouTube. So, if you guys are listening on Spotify, on the podcast app, leave me a review on there. But come over to the YouTube channel, Evolution Daily Podcast. Come on over and join the conversation. And you guys can comment the results that you get. So there is extroversion, agreeableness, conscientiousness, neuroticism, openness, psychopathy, Machiavellianism, and narcissism on this test. It gave me type ENTJ, which means I'm a commander, which I think a lot of women would agree with, in the bedroom. That's inappropriate. That's inappropriate. If you're a woman listening to this that I've slept with, I'm not sorry. I'm really not sorry. It's just, I was a little bitch boy when I first started having sex. I was very bad at sex. Dude, when I started fucking, I was enjoying coming and I was enjoying some parts. I enjoyed getting head because that was like, I don't have to have my fat, gross body all over the girl and feel all insecure and shit. It's like, dude, the perfect situation for me at that time was dark room getting head. That was awesome. If I could just have a dark room and get some head, that'd be fucking sick. I remember one time my girl was trying to, when I was 19, Kelly, right? She's trying to, I'm going to message her one day and be like, do you know that I've talked about you for like fucking 6 years? You ruined my life. Nah, she's great. She's trying to fuck me. We were watching Twilight and she was trying to fuck in the middle of the day and I wouldn't do it because it was bright. It was so bright. And I'm like, dude, she's going to see my big fat body. This is going to be gross. I'm going to just be spilling all over. So we didn't end up having sex. So I got ENTJ, commander. Extroversion, I got the 93 percentile, which makes sense. I'm definitely, I hate people. I'm like, sometimes I'm really extroverted and sometimes I'm really introverted. Yeah, me too, motherfucker. Yeah. Okay, we all have that. You're not unique. Sometimes I'm just like really introverted. Sometimes I'm really like, no, who cares? No one gives a fuck. What are you talking about? So I'm in the 93% extroversion. Agreeableness, I'm in the 71 percentile. Okay. Conscientiousness, I'm in the 15%, which is low. And it says you are spontaneous, which is right. I often, throughout my entire life, have done really crazy, insane shit on a whim. And that has both benefited me and completely ruined my life and my entire existence. So there's that. All right. Bit spontaneous. Now, neuroticism. I always talk about neuroticism. Neuroticism is kind of that, like, you're always just worrying about the next thing that could go wrong, and what if this happens, and why did she say that to me, and why did my friend say that? What did he mean by that? Was he really thinking that da-da-da? Should I go back and tell him that? All that shit. Bro, I've talked about this a lot over the years. I was neurotic as fuck, and then one of the main core benefits I got from testosterone replacement therapy easily was not being as neurotic. Truly. I noticed it in months. I was like, oh, you used to think all weird. Why were you always thinking all weird? So I scored in the 4% of neuroticism. Again, guys, take this test down below. We're going to get to our guest here in just a minute. 4% neuroticism. I'm in the 4 percentile. I mean, it says you are emotionally stable. I agree with that. Openness. I'm in the 91%. I'm very open. Thus, this podcast, I guess. Psychopathy. 23%. That's fine. That's not, dude, I'm not a psychopath, bro. People call me a psychopath. I'm not a psychopath, dude. I fucking feel shit, man. I'm actually surprised I scored this fucking high. I think I'm a complete empath. I had my chick take this test as well. She got 3% on psychopathy, which made perfect sense. Machiavellianism, which is essentially your willingness to kind of fuck other people over to get what you want. I scored very low, 14%. I don't do that. I really don't, man. Like, if somebody were to come to me right now and say, hey, we're going to give you 50 grand, but this whole family, their lives are going to be ruined forever. They were going to have a normal life. Now their lives are going to be in shambles forever. Horrible car accident, crazy debt. I wouldn't do it. I really would not do that shit, man. Like, I just don't. I don't need it. I don't want to do it. Narcissism, 68%. Not bad. I mean, I'm definitely a narcissist. I think narcissism is, I think you want to be a narcissist. I think if you're not a narcissist, I don't really want to fuck with you that much, to be honest. It's, if you're not a little bit kind of thinking that you're very important, if you're not a little bit kind of thinking, man, I'm the shit. Let's go. Let's do some shit. I want to fucking win. I want to succeed. I want to be something, man. I'm going to be something. If there's not a part of you that just feels a little bit better than other people, we're probably not really going to be that good of friends. I'm a winner. I like to hang out with winners. I don't really like people that aren't that are really low narcissism. I don't. No, we're just not going to end up hanging out, really. I think about places that I've worked in the past, back when I had normal fucking shit jobs. And I think about people where it's like, their narcissism score is probably like 0. And they're just at that job. They're like 45. They don't give a fuck. They don't have that feeling that they were meant for more, that they were designed to do better, to be greater. They just don't have that. And that's okay. But we're probably not going to vibe that much. I believe that my narcissism is a major part of why I have been able to be so successful in my life. I've been incredibly successful in my life. I genuinely was really, I mean, if you look at where I grew up, I mean, the actual neighborhood I grew up in, if you look at everyone that came out of that neighborhood, I don't think anyone even went to college. I don't think anyone really started a business. I mean, a lot of people died of heroin. Every once in a while, you hear about, oh, remember Ashley, that lived 2 blocks down over there? Her brother, unfortunately, died of heroin. I mean, people die of heroin where I'm from. And it's just statistically, I just don't really think that I was really meant for much. My grades were horrific in high school. Absolutely horrific. I mean, I graduated. The last day of high school, my parents let me have a party. And I had a party for seniors. And so we had this big party in the backyard, and my parents were, they were, I don't know why they were being so fucking lame. Looking back on it, my parents are pretty based. They're pretty cool, but they were being lame fucking bitches. And they were really adamant. No drinking, no weed, no whatever. I'm like, come the fuck. Most people here are 18. I'm like the only 17-year-old, it seemed like. So then people are drinking. People are smoking. So my parents are getting mad. My dad's coming out. You can't have this. If one of these kids leaves and they drunk drive and they crash, then it's on me, whatever. I'm like, chill out, man. Calm it down, bro. My mom, she ends up going sifting through my trunk because she smells all the weed. So then she finds, a giant bag of weed and a little pipe, which I actually got back from her like 4 years ago or something. But so, they kind of tried to ground me, but they couldn't because I was going to France, I think like the next day, or no, like 2 days later, I was going to France for 11 days. And it wasn't that serious to where they're going to cancel that trip, right? But the day after that fucking party, bro, Miss Norton is calling me up. Shout out to Miss Norton. She's a bad bitch, man. I like that chick. One of the only memorable teachers I had, her and Mademoiselle Miller. And Senora Capone as well. Flippy was cool. So, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah. So, Miss Norton, she calls me the next day. She gets a hold of my cell phone number. And she says, you need to come in right now. You failed my class. And I looked at your transcripts. And you failing my class means you don't graduate. So, if you don't come in for hours and do all this extra work, you're not going to graduate high school. And I mean, that was devastating. And my buddy Dominic, same thing happened to him. I think we called each other. I think maybe, yeah, I called him, he called me. Maybe Miss Norton told me that Dominic was going to have to do it too. So we ended up having to go in the next day and just do tons of work. Tons of just bullshit ass work to get our grade up, to not fail, and then to be able to graduate. I mean, that's how bad my grades were. I was really destined for nothing. And I have scraped. I have climbed. I have fucking clawed, because deep down I always knew, even in my darkest times, even when I'm like practically overdosing on ecstasy in Andy Rush's fucking driveway, hallucinating and fucking giant eagles, seeing foxes running down the aisles, later in life finding out that they say if you hallucinate off ecstasy, you should go to a fucking hospital immediately because your brain is starting to overheat. I mean, just crazy shit, right? I was destined really for nothing. But even in those times, I knew. Even when I was just banging Kelly on a towel in the backyard of Andy's house, and people are looking at us out through the window, and she's not very attractive, and I'm just gross and fat and naked out in the yard, I knew I was meant for something more. And I think that that's the narcissism. The narcissism told me, hey, you're going to be something one day. You're going to do something great one day. And so I went all in on a lot of different projects, man. I've had a failed Amazon product. I went to this company here in Columbus and tried to convince them to build an app for me for free. This is all way before Evolution Daily, and they wouldn't do it. And I was in there freaking out on all of them. You guys don't get it. This is $1 million fucking idea. Build the app. I'll start paying you when the revenue starts coming in. I have no money. I mean, I've always really done some pretty crazy shit. I've always taken everything a little too far. And I think that's the narcissism. I think that a little bit of that is the narcissism. So take the test. I'm going to put that down below. And also, guys, if you are looking for, if you just feel hopeless in your endeavors, if you just look at your life right now and you think to yourself, I don't really know where this is going, but it doesn't feel like it's going to a good place. You're not really sure were you where you're at now about 5 years ago? Were you roughly kind of in the same spot? Were you dating the same quality of girl 2 years ago as you are now? Was it 0 girls then and it's 0 now? Was it, really unattractive women then and it's really unattractive women now? Do you feel any more confident than you felt before? Are you financially any better off? Is your circle any more elite? Are things in your life moving forward? Or do you feel a little lost in regards to where is this all going? If that's the case, then I want you to click the link down below and apply for the Ascension program. The Ascension program begins April 1st. This is the only way to work with me from here on out. This is a hybrid program. This is a 12-week coaching program where we meet up once a week virtually, and where we create a hybrid program where you are also able to do a 4-day Ascension in-person bootcamp program with me and the other guys that are on the program. there's really a lot to unpack here. I'm probably going to do an entire episode on what Ascension is and what it means to me. This is the one program that I firmly believe with my entire heart and soul can get any man the results that he wants in this life. They can take any man from wherever he is now. If his life is a 4, I can get you to a fucking 8. If your life is an 8, I can get you to a fucking 10. If your life is a 1 right now, I can get you to a goddamn 6 during this program. But when you sign up for Ascension, you also are gaining lifetime access to the Ascension Alumni Association. So in essence, when you complete this 12-week Ascension program, you now are thrown into an exclusive, an extremely exclusive community of men for the rest of your life, where we all link up once a month virtually inside of the Ascension Alumni Association group, inside of that inner circle. And there's just so much to unpack here. And I'm telling you guys straight up, this is the only way to work with me from now on, unless you are an incredibly high-end client. I'll be doing one-on-one programs for, $25K plus, depending on the program. But as far as actually being able to really gain access to me at this stage of my life and of Evolution Daily, and for me to be able to have the most impact on the most amount of men possible in the world, Ascension is it. This is fucking everything. So head over to joinascension.com. Enjoy this episode of the podcast with Dan Silverman. Dan is a Miami matchmaker. This shit's about to be lit. You guys are going to love this fucking episode. Enjoy. Okay, and here we are. Lady and gentlemen, there's only, I think, probably one woman that listens to my show. So to you, one or two out there, can't forget about you. We are here on another episode of the Evolution Daily podcast with a second time returning guest here. We've got Dan Silverman, the Miami matchmaker. Dan, thank you for being on the show, my guy.
Thanks for having me, man. I hope you're still making America great again.
Yes, I am. I actually was just down in Miami last weekend. I didn't hit you up because I would love
My birthday, man. What the hell, bro?
Son of a bitch. I would love to do one of these in person one of these times. The last 4 times I would say that I went to Miami was very in and out. It was boot camp starts on Friday. I get there Thursday night, settle in, end up leaving on Monday. However, it's winter here in Ohio now. I may end up spending a couple of weeks in Miami soon, and we'll be able to celebrate your belated birthday.
You also missed Art Basel too, which is like an insane time for pickup. It is great. It is awesome during Art Basel.
Mm-hmm. Well, you guys right now have a weird thing going on where I think it's COVID related. I'm pretty sure a couple of the girls we talked to,
everyone's sick here.
Well, but here's the thing though, is I think down in Argentina, the lockdowns and the amount of people getting sick, apparently it's very bad down there right now. So every other girl we talk to, swear to God, 50% of the women in Miami right now are really hot Argentinian women. And they are just flocking to Miami. And every one of them is like, yeah, we're here for 4 to 5 months. We're going to try to live here, get work visa. They're like flocking. So right now is the best time to be in Miami, Florida. These chicks are
I mean, it's
hot.
always been good. We're like wide open. What pandemic? We don't know of any pandemic over here. Yeah, everybody's getting sick around us, but nobody's dying.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I live in a red state. Ohio is a red state. However, Columbus, where I live, is blue. It's a central, it's a city, and a lot of lefties. And down in Florida,
Austin's like that too.
Yep, very similar. Yeah. And I was at a bar in Miami on, I think it was Sunday evening. It was a small little bar. I think it was called Max.
Mac on the Club Deuces. Yes, that's a notorious bar here. What the hell were you doing in there, man? You're not going to do any pickup in there.
Oh, no. Well, here's why I was there, because earlier in the evening, I wrapped up the boot camp and everything, and I got dinner with my buddy Jason, who comes on a lot of the boot camps with me. And we were sitting at a table on Ocean Drive, and every once in a while, a gorgeous girl would go walking by, and we're having dinner, but we're both into pickup. So I would send him into one, I would go do one, and I'm having dinner with him, and this beautiful white chick from Philadelphia, she goes walking by, and I see her, and I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna go do that one. So I go talk to her, and then Cha-ching, jackpot. I go, what are you up to right now? And I go direct, right? I end up just saying straight up, I was just with my buddy. I saw you. I thought you were gorgeous. Want to come say hi. Oh my God, thank you. I go, what are you up to right now? She's like, I'm just wandering around. I'm from Philly. I just got here. I'm like, boom, here we go.
Yeah. Wide open.
I end up bringing her over to the table to hang out with me and Jason for a little bit. But then I tell her, I end up going, hey, listen, I'm going to finish up my dinner with my buddy. Why don't you meet me here in about 30 minutes? We'll grab a drink. She goes, okay, let's do it. I type in my Airbnb. What's the closest bar to my Airbnb? Because I gotta set that up. Closest bar is Max Deuces or whatever
Club
the hell.
Deuces. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Straight up, though, walk in there. There's a dude with a fuck Joe Biden hat. Just straight up, no problems. If you wore that here in Columbus, you would literally get fought. You'd get thrown out of the bar first, and then you would get fought. Someone would try to beat you up.
Yeah. I don't usually see that in Miami either. I mean, yeah. I don't really think that most people care down here, but most people just want to be left alone and party. This is a party place.
Yep.
Just let us party and leave us alone. That's how we are out here.
Yeah. So, hey, guys, listen. Miami, matchmaker or matchmaking?
Matchmaking Miami.
Matchmakingmiami.com. If you live down in Miami, then hit up my boy Dan. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you also kind of just do a little bit of just like dating coaching in general?
Oh,
as
yeah.
well?
No, I mean, I started as a dating coach. In fact, I was heavily in the whole pickup artistry in 2006 when I started my business. I mean, way long. It's a totally different atmosphere now, but mostly what I do when it comes to coaching is I help with a lot of mock date coaching. I actually have a woman that helps me with that, and I correct, weird behaviors that guys might have. And, it's a lot of dating coaching online and through Zoom and stuff like that. It's much less pickup like I used to do.
Wow, that's amazing that you do that, because I have thought about that for a long time,
So
where
important,
I think some guys, they so much of approach anxiety and struggling with pickup. I believe that almost all of it actually comes down to tension avoidance.
Oh, yeah. And you want to lean into it. Yeah.
It's not fear of failure like everyone thinks. It's not like, I'm afraid I'll get rejected. No, you're not. You're afraid that you're going to go do it. It's going to feel awkward and tense, and your face is going to be getting red, and she's going to be nervous. That's what you're afraid of. So
Yes.
I've said for a long time that I really believe that so many men just need to be on dates. And I know that sounds so simple. It's like, well, yeah, be on dates. Well, I'm trying to get to the date. But no, something like that, a mock date, even straight up hitting up a girl on Facebook and being like, hey, I need a female friend. I think guys need to just be at a dinner for 2 hours with a woman. And I guarantee you there's a lot of men listening to this right now where they could agree and say, yeah, I've never just sat at a dinner table with a woman for 2 hours and spoke. And I think they need to feel that tension and then feel that cycle of resolution where they go through that tension. So I think mock dates is kind of a genius idea.
I mean, it is kind of similar if you think to pickup, because when you do pickup, it's almost like an instant date for whatever the amount of time is, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. It might only be like 10 seconds if it doesn't go that well. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, how are you supposed to get good at dating women and attracting them if you don't try and fail a shitload of times? The failure is exactly what teaches you how to get better. It's like if you go into a training for like a gym, like boxing or something, you're going to get your ass kicked. But it's like you're going to get your ass kicked, and every time you get your ass kicked, you're going to learn how to avoid getting your ass kicked. You know what I'm saying? You're going to learn how to actually fight better, more properly. You're going to get used to it. It's going to strengthen your toughness. A lot of guys are so scared and they're like afraid of the rejection. And guys, you're going to get rejected. It's going to happen. And even when you get really good at it, even when you become an expert and you teach it, you're still going to get rejected. But the difference between like the new guy who gives up and the guy who's an expert is the thick skin. Okay, whatever. There's always another one around the corner, that abundance mentality. You can't have an abundance mentality if you don't actively meet lots and lots of women for yourself. Even if you're not just trying to meet them, you just chat women up, or just chat people up as you're walking around and going about the day. And you're giving people value by having that fun conversation. You just kind of keep your social muscles lubricated. It's really important, especially as you get older, because when you get older, you don't have as many social groups. You don't have like college to hang out at, you're not instantly put with these situations. You got to be able to meet new people. I mean, hell, when I was in Austin, I made a new friend in the damn Uber ride. We got lunch together next day. Turns out he was coming down here for Art Basel because he's also an art dealer. And we hung out and went around. We were talking to different girls. It was so much fun. But like if I had just sat in the back seat and I just put my mask on and didn't say a damn thing and just looked at my phone like so many other people do, I wouldn't have made a new friend. And now he's going to let me crash at his place when I go over there again and search for apartments, which, by the way, I'm seriously considering moving out there in Austin. So anybody who's out there, I might start doing some shit over there as well. It's a fun place. I love Austin, man. I see why you love it.
Where'd you hang out the most?
There were 3 places that I enjoyed. And so from least favorite to the best, 6th Street was pretty fun. Like West 6th Street was pretty fun. I like the live music, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of like Super Ghetto Miami, where you got to kind of watch yourself. The second one was Rainy Street, which is awesome. In fact, I like Rainy Street during the day better than at night. I actually like it better in the day because you can actually hear people. It's not so dense, and I get like claustrophobic when it's so tight. And my very favorite was something that not many people know about. Maybe you know, but it's East 6th Street. It's like where locals go to hang out. There's actually like a strip on East 6th, just like east of the highway. I'm thinking about moving in that area, man. I mean, it was awesome. The bars over there are cool. All the women you meet there are locals. So if like you're looking for a girlfriend or someone that you'll actually be able to see again, not just tourists, they're all over there on East 6. I loved it over. Have you been there?
No, I have not. Every
Got
time
to
I've
go
gone,
next time.
Yeah. Every time I've gone, I've heard about it though. They go, oh, this is ratchet over here. If you head down east, that's where all the better bars are and all that. So I'll have to check that out.
Where's your favorite? Where's your favorite spot?
So it's actually a spot that you did not mention.
Okay, I gotta check it out then.
And the only reason I know about it was because my buddy who I was going to stay with, he lives right in this area. When you were there, did you hear about the Domain?
I hate the Domain.
Oh,
the Domain is soulless. It's corporate as fuck. I feel like I'm walking through a goddamn airport.
Funny. That's funny.
I break out in hives when I was there. I just wanted to leave as soon as I got there. It reminds me of a giant strip mall. I couldn't stand it, but I understand why people like it. I did see attractive women out there, but the vibe there was just dead. I felt like I was inside of the brain of a corporation.
So it does sound to me like you were there during the day.
At the Domain?
Yeah, you were in the Domain during the day?
I might have been there like early evening, maybe.
Okay, got it. So daytime, yeah, it's whatever. It's an outdoor mall. It's just like anything else. I mean, you might as well be, at an outdoor mall anywhere. It doesn't really matter. But when it comes to the nighttime, the clubs over there are phenomenal. They're phenomenal. They're jam-packed, tons of hotties. You've got a range of clubs. You've got this one called Rose Room. And then the one that's attached to it where it's very, laser lights, smoke, loud rap music. But then you've got Dogwood, Wonder Bar, and these are now they're packed to the brim with people, but they're more of a bar environment. So you can talk, you can game. And another benefit over there is that I would say at least half of the girls you talk to live right in the Domain.
Yeah,
it's such a densely populated area of like a lot of young people and all these big apartment complexes. So for a guy that's, a little sicko just going out trying to fucking pull, it's pretty good. It's pretty good up there.
You might have to drag me out there next time because I had such a bad impression of it when I just hated the energy. But then I guess I didn't go at night where all these bars were. I just saw a big outdoor mall with places to buy handbags and all your typical corporate places to go and shop at. It was it reminded me of Scottsdale, Arizona. I want no part of it.
Yeah, I never made my way to Arizona. But dude, before we started hopping on the call, I was talking to you for a minute about the idea of matchmaking as a whole. Yeah. And you had informed me that matchmaking has been around and spoken about even in the Torah, the beginning of time. Mm-hmm. And what I said is I told you, because this was something I thought about a little while back, and I figured we'd start recording so we could kind of have this discussion publicly. And what I thought about was I am finding, I'm 31 right now, and a lot of the girls I end up dating are around, 20 to 25, younger
Mhm.
women. And being on the ground and talking to a lot of these younger women at bars, whether I start dating them, go on dates with them or not, just being around them a lot, I am finding a real uptick in women's dissatisfaction with I don't want to say just hookup culture. Hookup culture is a part of it, but with like fuck boys leading them on. I'm finding a real uptick in the dissatisfaction in that. And I'm finding too, I think, that there are more and more girls that when you look at matchmaking, I think there's a lot more younger men and women in their 20s that I believe matchmaking will become more destigmatized. They will actually gravitate more towards that. I know many women that are off dating apps.
Mhm.
Many women. You're seeing the roller coaster, right? It peaked and now it seems to be declining. Where so many women straight up are not on dating apps. They talk about how much they hate it, and so I'm noticing an uptick in wanting to meet people in person, and also wanting
Really?
there's this new service, I believe, in New York and Miami, and it is a dating app it's a dating app, but you can't communicate with anybody on the dating app. What it is you're on the dating app and you get a notification at 6 p.m. for everybody on the app to go meet at a bar or at two different bars.
Okay.
So that's the idea is you're on the app as a form of getting the notification of being a part of this community, but then it's to go meet in person. And what I'm assuming that they probably notify maybe 100% of the women on the app and then maybe like 50% of the men. Because if you notify everybody, it's going to be a sausage fest. You're going to have
Of
way
course.
more men. And maybe
Of
there's a
course.
paid feature for men where you pay to get notified. But so, all in all, to say with all of this is that, again, major uptick in people being done with the bullshit that comes with online dating, men's frustration of just over and over again, girls up until 7 p.m. with the date scheduled. Hey, sorry, can't make it.
Yeah.
Peace. All right, whatever. And so, what I think is going to happen is in the same way that it used to be weird to use online dating and now it's extremely normalized. I also think that if you're 22, 23 right now, man or woman, good looking or not, saying that I'm using a matchmaker is weird. I met you through a matchmaking service. We met through matchmaking. I think that that is weird in the psyches of young people, but I give it about 5 years before it's extremely normalized.
For that age group, for the younger 20s.
Yep. Yep.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Especially amongst young conservatives.
So, yeah, so now you're talking about two different cultures because I would say that most women in their 20s have zero interest in some sort of very serious long-term relationship that will turn into a marriage and kids. They're not thinking that. They're thinking about having fun in their early 20s and focusing on their career and then saving that whole like get married and have kids until they've hit like 30 years old or longer than that. I don't get any women coming to me for matchmaking in their 20s, not a single one. The women that come to me looking for matchmaking typically are in their mid to late 30s. That's when they're seeking it. So
Well, the
until they
reason,
start desiring to find that in their early 20s, I think it will still be stigmatized as long as the culture at large does not value that at that age where they keep telling them, no, have your fun, go out, do your thing and focus on your career. It's silly to get in a really like a marriage or a long-term relationship. A
yep.
lot of the guys are looking for that. A lot of the guys want a relationship, even in their 20s, they're willing to do that. But I mean, women are really the ones that are controlling who gets laid and who doesn't get laid. And so if they're sexually selecting guys that are fuck boys that lead them on, more guys are going to become that because that's what's getting sexually selected. You see what I'm saying?
Right. I do disagree, however. I
Mhm.
think that, yes, the culture is trying more and more. You've got radical feminism and these different we'll just call it what it is, leftist movements that are pushing that narrative onto women that you're a bad bitch, you don't need no man, make that get the bag,
And you even hear it in the
girl.
music too. Yeah.
Yep. So but what I think is happening is I think that more and more women are in contact with or related to or friends with a woman who that's just not working out for them. So the
It doesn't
reason
make them
why
happy. Of course it doesn't.
so the reason why so many women in their 30s are reaching out to you, I believe, even though younger 20s, if they knew about all this, would want it actually, it's because when you now hit what many women believe is kind of the beginning of the end, which is 30. Many women have it in their head. I want to be married and kids by 30. If I'm not married by 30, I'm going to kill my, they all have it's like 30 is the number. So
They kill themselves.
yeah.
That's
So,
nothing for me.
so you're 31 now. So you're 25. You're young. You're fit. You eat a pizza at night. You don't gain a pound from
Don't
it.
gain a
Woo!
pound from it.
We're just
I
fucking
miss those
drinking.
days.
Right. Yeah. So that's you at, 25. To you, the world is still your oyster. You still have abundance. You're still. And then what happens? You date a guy for 5 years who changes his mind around 30. You think this is it. This is forever. That guy all of a sudden, whether he's good or whatever it was, he could be a fuckboy or change his mind or she gets fat or whatever the situation is, they split. All of a sudden, you go from 25 in abundance, dating maybe a fit, smart, good looking, great guy. And now all of a sudden you're 31 and you're single and you're like, oh shit, here we go. And that's when I believe the internet searches begin for women. The internet searches begin for men at a much younger age. Many men, I just had a student yesterday who the first time he ever looked up how to get better with women was that his friends, funny enough, his friends actually set him up with a girl. So he had two friends that were dating each other. She has a friend, he has a friend. They go, you two should meet. They go to lunch together and he just drops the ball horribly. He says he's nervous. He's freaking out the whole time. She doesn't really want to, she's not into it. And he beat himself up so bad that he finally looked up online, how the fuck do I get better with girls?
Yeah.
So for women, I think the internet searching starts later. And I think, again, even with this culture of, don't have kids, make that money, you don't need no man, I'm finding, again, more and more women that are aware of that, but are like, this is kind of fucked up. I don't like that. I don't like that this is the culture. And one more thing I'll say on it is I think that the internet, because we look at the way that Facebook, YouTube, these different platforms, we see the way that they end up over time filtering out conservative voices, oftentimes voices of reason, and amplifying this sort of degeneracy. So I also think that the internet makes us feel like there's way more women out there that are moving towards this like radical lefty kind of lifestyle. And again, I just think there's more and more women now that want a serious relationship at a younger age.
Are you finding that's happening like right now? Because I do need to tell you that it is cuffing season right now. Or has this been like all year? Because when spring comes, you might not be experiencing the same type of responses from women.
That's true. That's what it is. It's cuffing season. So I want a boyfriend. I want to
right
be
now.
with
They
somebody.
want a boyfriend. Right now, they're like, I feel like I'm wasting my time. I still don't have somebody to introduce you to my parents. They're all going to wonder what's going on. They're going to get that peer pressure.
Yeah, right. No, absolutely. Yeah. We'll see when the spring hits. That's when the
how it
thoughts
works,
come out.
That's girl summer is, all that shit. Yeah. You just go with the flow of the cycle, man. Oh, poor guy. I feel really bad for you. This is your friend of yours or your client?
No, he's somebody that I did a call with who's signing up for my mentorship now.
Well, good for him. Well, things are going to change. It's good that he's doing something instead of just being miserable at home.
Yeah,
like a lot of guys, I think a lot of guys are afraid to get help. It's like admitting that you're bad with women is like it stabs you in the soul. For a lot of guys, they just don't want to admit that.
Hey, what's going on, bro? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Evolution Daily podcast. I hope that you're enjoying it. There comes a time in your life where you have to become fed up with the life that you've been living. I've known men who I met 10 years ago. They didn't have any women in their life. They didn't have any money in their life. Their mind was just broken. They were neurotic. They were depressed. They were anxious. I knew them 10 years ago that way. And unfortunately, right now, 10 years later, they are in the exact same spot. And I don't foresee anything changing for them in the next 10 years. Now, this is an existence that I don't want for you. By the mere fact that you are tuning into the Evolution Daily podcast, what that shows me, what that tells me that you're hearing my voice right here, right now, what that tells me is that you want more for yourself. You want to live a better life. You want beautiful women in your life. You want money. You want a great body. You want to have a strong, sharp mindset. You want to have confidence. You want to have charisma. You want to walk into a room full of people, feel confident, make friends, meet women, get girls' phone numbers, hook up with chicks, meet cool guys, have people see you as a man of status, a man of value. These are things that just by the mere fact that you're tuning into this podcast, I guarantee that you want for yourself. So listen to me. I had a coach of mine. I have many coaches in my life, and a coach of mine, a business coach, said to me 6 months ago or so, he said, Aaron, what I need you to do is I need you to create the one program. He said, forget about everything else. Forget about content, the podcast, forget about everything. Create the one program that you truly believe with your entire heart and soul will change the lives, will get the results, will get your students, get your clients success. The one program, your heart and soul, give it everything you've got. And so that program that I've created, that is called Ascension. You can apply for Ascension over at joinascension.com. Now you're going to be hearing more and more about Ascension because Ascension now is the only way that you can work with me. So unless somebody reaches out and they're, extremely, extremely high end, 50K plus, I'm not really doing any one-on-one coaching anymore. I'm also not doing the short form bootcamp weekends anymore. What I'm doing now is I have created Ascension. And what Ascension is going to be is we're going to hold Ascension about 3 to 4 times a year. And what Ascension is, and the first one begins April 1st. It's coming up very, very quickly. So you have to apply right now over at joinascension.com. Now, I'm not going to get into every single detail right here, right now. But what you need to know is that Ascension is a 12-week coaching program. Now, this is a hybrid program where not only will we be meeting once a week for 12 entire weeks, running you through my entire curriculum, 10 years of experience, of breakups, of successes, of getting rejected over and over and over again, of hooking up with gorgeous, gorgeous women, of being forced when I was really young to hook up with not so attractive women, and the way that I've been able to bridge that gap. So the curriculum that we're going to cover over this 12-week period will take you from wherever you are right now into being the most optimized, high-level version of yourself. Now, this is not only going to cover just pickup, just game. That'll absolutely be a core pillar. But we are going to be covering so many topics where we are going to be covering how to create a diamond mind. I used to be neurotic. I used to be anxious. I used to be depressed. And through so many, affirmations, through meditations, through supplementation, through balancing out my hormones, through specific exercises, I have been able to do so much to create a rock solid diamond mindset that I will be able to instill into you on this program. This program is for men that want to go from having the same routine, living the same day over and over and over again, everything feeling boring, nothing feeling exciting, feeling like you're going nowhere, feeling like 5 years ago you're pretty much where you were right now, and you want to go from there to boom, skyrocketing to the top, blasting the fuck off. That is what the Ascension program, that is who the Ascension program is for. Now, there are way too many details to get into right here, right now. What I want you to do is I want you to head over to joinascension.com. And again, if you've ever thought, I'm going to take a boot camp with Aaron, I'm going to do his mentorship, that's all gone. The only way to work with me now is through the Ascension program. This is all available for you over at joinascension.com. Apply today. We will be holding this program about 3 to 4 times per year, and I'm only allowing 10 people on each program. So this is going to sell very, very quickly. This is extremely exclusive. And after you've actually completed your 12-week Ascension program with me, then what you're going to gain access to as well is the Ascension Alumni Association. Now, when you're a part of the Ascension Alumni, this is a lifetime membership. This is a lifetime exclusive club where you will be connected with not only me, but also every other savage that has put their balls on the line, who has put their heart and soul out there and said, I want more from myself. I believe in myself. I can be better. I can be more. I'm ready to be the star of my own fucking movie. And you will be able to be a part of this exclusive elite alumni association for the rest of your life. We will meet once a month as a part of the the Ascension Alumni Association. We're going to be meeting once a month. We're going to be holding exclusive events for everybody that's in the Alumni Association. And this is all just after you've already completed Ascension, which will skyrocket you. So my goal with Ascension and with the Ascension Alumni Association that you'll gain access to for life once you've gone through my Ascension program is my goal is to create this elite community of men where we are connected for life, creating businesses together, meeting up in different cities, having connections around the United States and around the world of high-level motherfuckers that are jacked, that are confident, that are fucking rich, that have beautiful girls all around them. And this gets you out of the vicious circle that so many people get stuck in, where everyone around them is shit. Your family is shit. Your friends are shit. Your community fucking sucks. You don't have anybody around you. Becoming a part of Ascension, graduating into the Alumni Association will allow you to break out of that, to break out of the atmosphere and skyrocket to the fucking moon. All of that is available for you at joinascension.com. Enjoy the rest of the podcast. Yeah, and I loved what you talked about a little bit ago too, about your experience in Austin this past when you were in Austin, because what you said is spot on when you said that, especially when you get older, you have to really put yourself out there more. You have to be the person who reaches out more. You have to. And if everybody really followed that rule, it's kind of that be the change you want to see in the world. And if everybody started following that rule of being the one that reaches out more, then more friendships would maintain, they'd be created, they would maintain over time. And what you said is very important because when you're young, from the cradle all the way until about college, sometimes you get lucky enough to even have this in your career. But for most of your life, you have default friendships. You are friends with your mom's friends' kids. You are friends with the neighborhood. You are friends with whoever you're in kindergarten with. High school, college, middle school, default. Oh, I'm in a dorm. What's up, bro? You have default friends. And then all of a sudden, you get thrown into the world. And especially now with COVID, where so many people now are... that same kid, I don't want to keep talking about him the whole time, but don't want to put him on blast.
Well, he's a good representation of what a lot of guys are going through.
He told me straight up, he's like, dude, I will Monday through Friday not see another human sometimes. He's like, I will just straight up not speak to another human. He's like, even if I go to the gym in the evening or something, I'm not like talking to anyone. He goes, so if I stay home on the weekend, dude, I can sometimes go 12 days without talking to someone. I'm like, holy fuck. So that's what I was talking to him about the importance. And man, we know this to be scientifically true, that human connection is basically the number one determining factor in somebody's happiness in this world. You can be poor, you can be fat, you can have no future for yourself, but I promise you, if you have a great community of friends, or you have some friends or a family or just a great community, you will be happier than a lot of people that are successful and alone.
Well, let's also talk about the importance of being that person that reaches out, because just like with women, if you have these default friends that are really toxic to you, you have to be willing to let them go. And it's a lot harder to let them go if you have no other friends. So having the ability to go out and make new friends and meet new people, having the balls to actually put yourself out there is so important. But of course, if somebody doesn't want to be your friend, that's fine. That's their choice. And you don't take it personally and you move on. You find someone who's a better fit for you. It's just like with women. A lot of the stuff that you learn in pickup really applies to your general life skills, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely does. And I can for sure relate to that, where you're, when you're in high school and you're, son of a bitch. Okay. Hang on, let's see. Okay, we're good.
All right.
All right, I'll have to little technical error, no big deal. But I do remember when, you've got maybe your 4 or 5 core group of friends, and if you were to have a falling out with one of them, it's kind of the end of the world. It's like now your other friends are picking whose kind of side they're on. You risk being ousted from the tribe. And then when you do get older and you go out into the world and you are able to meet new women, new friends, new people, new communities, then like you said, you're able now to be that man with boundaries that says, hey, you just talked shit to me in a really weird way. Don't do that anymore. Don't do that. And if they do that again, you fucking oust them. They're not your friend anymore. And very, very important with women. Very important with women. I know that you see this just as much as I do. We know so many people that are in relationships because they feel like they can't get anybody else. I mean,
I would say most relationships are like that. Just coming from the
Wow.
perspective of a matchmaker, I see it. The guy is basically her servant. She doesn't respect him, but she stays with him because he provides utility. And he thinks that that's the only way he's going to get access to sex. It's totally not healthy. And I hate to see it. In fact, whenever I see a couple, because I do see this, guys, there are really happy, positive relationships out there. It's just unfortunately they're not as common as maybe they used to be. But when I see that, it's wonderful to see. You can see that a woman really looks up to the guy. They have a healthy relationship. There are clear roles in which partner is doing what, and they're happy and they work with each other. They both bring value to this relationship and they love each other. There's real love. In fact, I implore everybody who knows somebody who is in a very long-term relationship where there's still a lot of love to ask them how they make it work. And they always have like a few things that they say that I find that's in common, because I've interviewed a lot of these kind of people. The number one most important thing is never go to bed angry. Never go to bed in a fight. You want to talk and resolve it before it ends. Number 2, at least for women, for sure, respect is the most important thing. If she doesn't respect you, she won't love you. She doesn't respect you, she's not going to be attracted to you. So that's another important thing. And you need to value her respect more than her liking you. It's more important that she respects you than likes you. It's great that if she likes you, but for women, it's actually more important for the guy to like you than respect you. And not to say that respect isn't important, but a man can still be attracted to a woman that he doesn't respect, right? Yeah. But he's not going to stay long-term and commit fully to a woman he doesn't like. Not just love, but like genuinely enjoy spending time, non-sexual time with that woman. So that's the other really important thing. And number 3 is you've got very clear boundaries and rules that you abide by with each other. So for example, I have an uncle and an aunt who fuck all the time. And they're really like a great example of how like a really long-term relationship all the way in their 60s and 70s, they still have sex all the time. One of their main things is that he says, you cannot have a motherfucker in my home with you by yourself, and I will not bring a bitch over at home by myself. We can have people come over together, but outside of that, never. We can never cross that line. And they used to like share people and do that whole open relationship thing back in the day before, they were 60, of course, but they still made it work. They're still terribly in love with each other, and you can see it. They absolutely adore each other. And it's a very healthy, happy relationship, despite the fact that they fight sometimes, which I would say fighting is actually good in a relationship. If you're not fighting, you're holding things in, and fighting helps a lot of the time in creating sexual tension, because women love to fight. They love the emotional rise. You don't want to just give them positive emotions all the time. Negative is really important to make the positive ones stick out, but I digress.
Yeah, no, I think the way that you fight too is important. I think
Mhm.
the way that you're fighting and what you're fighting about is important. And I do agree with you. I think that women want to see that passionate side of their man.
Yeah.
And now that again, when it comes to even how you fight, because I've definitely had fights with women where we definitely both agree, like you can tell that we're stronger after it, where we
Mhm.
got in some big quarrel about something, but then
Yeah.
afterwards it's like, oh wow, we needed that. So
Yeah.
I think also that comes into play as well when it comes to negotiations, communications, being a strong communicator is making sure that when you do end up in some sort of an argument, that all of your kind of past immaturity isn't coming to the table, but rather it's something productive. And I think that when you're in a relationship, you both want to see that we can get through something. Because I've been in fights with women before where they're giving up no ground whatsoever. And I remember feeling like you just don't seem in your feminine enough, like able
Yeah.
to really kind of balance me out in a way that I see us moving forward. So
Mhm.
I think that's very important as well. Let me ask you this, Dan. You mentioned your aunt and uncle, um, and their situation. I have always been very interested in the dichotomy between monogamy and polyamory and open relationships and these things. I follow a lot of influencers in the polyamorous sphere, and I follow a lot of influencers who I love who are very get married young, have kids, these sort of more conservative, these sorts of things. Obviously, I know you're not leaning more towards the get married young and have kids,
You'd be
for,
surprised. I actually think
for
it's a
some
better idea for women, at least, because that's when they
interesting. So
have the
this is a
most
good,
power in finding a great guy is when they're in their early 20s.
right. So in your experience, maybe outside or including your aunt and uncle, have you seen a lot of polyamory work? Have you seen a lot of truly, not like when you first meet them and they're like, we're happy, it's great, we do whatever, but have you known long-term couples where they really make polyamory open relationships work?
Okay, that's a very complicated question because what does it mean by work where all partners are happy? I wish I could say whether or not it is true, whether they're happy or not. I do see it working in certain circumstances. This is when I see polyamory working. Polyamory, I see work when you have the main, like, husband or the main guy that is like the guy who's like the best provider beta male type of guy. And she has fun with other men, but she always has that guy as her security. And she generally sees her main guy as like, this is the guy that provides me the security. He's my teddy bear, but she's not really aroused by the guy. And I'm also finding that polyamory works with much older women where I see this working. So she has a guy who you would typically probably call a beta male while she has sex with like different guys that arouse her in some kind of way. Plus, it kind of makes sense too, because when a woman isn't around her like a 40 years old, that's when she has the most testosterone in her body. It's usually when she's the horniest, actually. So it could make sense from that perspective. But if a woman really does have a ton of choice in who she could have as a great partner, she still has a means of getting a really like a hot guy who will stick around. She would not. I don't think she would be happy with that lifestyle. Like in her 20s, like have lots of different guys that she's seeing. I don't think women enjoy sport fucking like men do. Like we are wired to want to have sex with lots of women. We could absolutely be in love with a woman that we're with and still fuck that chick over there, still fuck some girl and mean nothing about it. But we still absolutely adore our women. I do not think that women can do the same thing. I think that if a woman like cheats on her boyfriend or she's having sex with another guy while she's with you, the relationship's over because it always means more for women when she has sex. It's much more intense. She has sex for different reasons. We have sex almost so because it's like we want to take a shit or we want to eat. It's like a biological need. Yeah, right. Like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
women do not understand that sometimes. It really doesn't mean anything if he cheats, right? I mean, it could, but generally speaking, no. But like if she does it, it's much more intense. It's like a woman, if she's really in love with you, I mean, really in love with you, I don't even think she finds other guys attractive.
Mhm.
She just
Yeah.
doesn't see other guys because she's focusing on you. And that makes sense because women can only get pregnant by one guy at a time. And we can just impregnate the whole world if we really wanted to try to do that.
I
It's
had
a
a
completely
I,
different thing.
I was filming when I was in Miami. We were filming on the boot camp, and this dude who lives in Miami, and maybe you would know him. His name is Stunt Lifestyle. Do you know a guy named Stunt Lifestyle? Man,
No.
dude, I don't even know who the fuck this guy is. Like he's a celebrity. I don't know
Mhm.
what he does, but he's just a celebrity. He's got hundreds of thousands of followers on
Okay.
he's verified. He's this fucking crazy dude. Look through his Instagram. He's on the Food Channel somehow. I don't even know. He comes up because he sees me filming and he joins in on my video. And we're shooting the shit and really cool guy. Love this dude. And he asked me, he goes, how many dudes I'll ask you what he asked me. So let me ask you this, Dan.
Yeah.
How many dudes do you think a 10, so a girl 10, how many dudes typically, if she's living in Miami, is she having sex with a month? She's 22. She's a fucking dime piece model. Anyone would look at her and be like, oh my God. How many dudes do you think she's hooking up with?
I could never put a number on that because every woman is different. You could have a woman who was like that, who was raised very conservatively, maybe has a great relationship with her father. Maybe she's got a boyfriend who she sticks with, and that's the only guy she has sex with. Or maybe she's a 304 and she just has fun and, hooks up with lots of different high status guys. I couldn't really put a number, but if I was to make a guess, I know that she's like a model on Instagram. She puts out photos of her ass a lot. I would say she probably, well, let's see. If she's like a professional model on Instagram and has a really solid thing, I would say she's only having sex with one guy. And that's the guy who's managing her. That's what I was saying.
Interesting.
But
Yep.
go ahead and give me your answer.
That's 100% almost word for word what I said. I swear to God, because almost word for word, because when you're a guy that doesn't understand women, if there's a dude listening to this right now, he's 20, he's a virgin, maybe he's fucked like one girl or something, and he doesn't understand women yet, he's going to hear that question and be like, oh, she's a 10 living in Miami. I bet she's getting dicked down every night by a different dude. I bet she's getting fucked. Like, that's what most guys would kind of think, because the way that they rationalize and get to that answer is, well, if I was a model 10, I'd be
fuck everything.
I'd be fucking every night, motherfucker. So they think women are the same. But I 100% agree. Every really hot, there's a great quote. Love this quote. Don't know who said it. Great quote. For every really hot woman that you want to have sex with, there's a guy out there who's tired of fucking her.
And that's probably the guy that's fucking her.
Exactly. I know some really hot women where it seems like they always end up with some kind of toxic boyfriend relationship where he cheats on her, but she wants to be loyal to him. And maybe every once in a while she does like a revenge fuck. I think it's less than it's less than 2 to 3 a month. It's less than that. And typically one. Yeah. 100%. I think the girls that are fucking the most, and of course, don't get me wrong, I agree with you in the sense that, yeah, conservative upbringing versus not, divorced home versus not. There's all these factors.
There's a lot
but
of factors.
in the grand aggregate of 1,000 women per class of looks, I'm going to say that the girls that are 6s and 7s are fucking a lot more than the 8s and the 9s. And that you're right, the 10s are fucking the least. I really do agree with you and believe that. I think that when you've got these women that are decent looking, but still get maybe rejected by the men that they want, or see their clearly hotter female friend with a clearly more attractive guy than, she really is used to. And these sorts of psychological things, I think that the 6s to 7s, and I do hate numbering women, but it creates an image for men. I think they're the ones that are fucking the most.
Yeah. That's an interesting point. I would really like to see that run as a science experiment. That'd be very interesting.
The problem is you could never find out because
because they wouldn't tell the
actually
truth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We read each other's minds here.
Yeah,
I think the reason why men like just instantly assume like, oh, if I was a girl, if I was a 10, I'd be fucking everybody. What I think a lot of men don't understand is that most men find most women attractive. Let's just say it, like most men would have sex with like at least half of the female population within like a certain spectrum, of course. You know what I mean? But like most women don't find most men attractive. So I like to tell guys, like, imagine if every single girl was like super masculine and like just really ugly and wasn't attractive at all. And then once, like every 100, maybe one out of every 100, one out of every 200 women pops up and she's just absolutely gorgeous, right? Like just gorgeous. But she's a total piece of shit human being. But that's just like, you know what I mean? It's like you would really, you're so attracted to that person, you will tolerate all of the abusive behavior, because it's so rare for a lot of women to find a guy that they find extremely attractive. You know what I mean? It's very rare. That's why they tolerate all that bullshit.
Yeah. And so much of women's the feeling that they get about being attracted, right? Our feeling of being attracted, the actual emotional response in our body. I could just see the silhouette of a woman 500 yards away, and I can just be like, oh, she's really hot, right? Like, we can get attracted to just the silhouette of a woman. Women, however, yes, they can objectively be like, oh yeah, he's tall, he's jacked, like whatever. They can see that, but still those emotions of attractiveness aren't actually there as much for women as they are for men. So I think what it is this is why game and confidence and charisma and being able to, I always say that one of the highest level behaviors you can have with hot women is actually being able to make fun of them, being able to pick on them, tease them, make fun of them, disagree with them.
Yeah.
And so when you're able to really adopt all of these more masculine, more charismatic behaviors, that's when now the emotions of attractiveness can be arisen in women.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. I'm always trying to really be like a cheerleader for game, because I mean, it really does make a huge difference. Looks is very important, obviously, can really help, but it's not as important as a lot of guys think it is. You know what I mean? Like, I like, it's a great way to put it. You know, men and women are very different with how they fall in love. Like, men fall in love through their eyes and women fall in love with their ears. That's why men lie and women wear makeup. You ever heard of that before?
I have not, but it makes sense. Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? Right.
It
We
is,
just
yeah.
look at a woman and that's all that's required for us to feel sexual arousal. But for women to feel sexual arousal, usually takes more time. They have to sort of feel you out, see what it feels like to be with you and to hear you, the way you speak to them, the way you talk to them, the way your behaviors and stuff like that. And so, like, maybe if, like, let's say you've got a really, really physically attractive guy and a guy who's kind of average looking, almost all the time, the women are first going to notice the attractive guy. But over the course of time, if that attractive guy doesn't have game and the average looking guy does, he is going to get more women far more often than the guy who's attractive. Now, if the guy's attractive and has game, he's going to do better than the average looking guy with game. Let's just point that out there. But most attractive guys don't have game. They rely on their looks. If you got game, you can run circles around good looking guys. Yes, they don't have to work as hard for sex, but they're not necessarily going to have like loyal girlfriends, and they might wind up being, a little puppy dog in their relationship when they finally get an attractive girl, and they basically give all the power to the woman, become her beta male, and then he's going to wind up losing her anyway in the first place, and they won't be having sex anymore. So that's usually what happens if the guy doesn't have game. Like, yeah, you have looks, work on yourself, but like, game is the most important thing to really have a happy life and have happy relationships with women, in my opinion.
Hey, what's going on, bro? So I hope that you are enjoying this episode of the Evolution Daily podcast. I hope that you're learning a lot of valuable information that's going to help you to live the life that you deserve to be living. You deserve to be a high-level man, and this podcast ideally is helping you to do that. However, if you are ready to take it to the next level, if you want to take your education to the next level, what I've done is I've created a program that is like no other program on the planet. The amount of time, energy, tears, resources, years in the field, experience, failures, heartbreak that have gone into this program, this one program, is unprecedented. So what I'm talking about here is the Evolution Daily Holy Grail Pickup Collection. This is all available at holygrailpickupcollection.com. Everything is down below. There's a link down below. Now, when you sign up for the Holy Grail Pickup Collection, this is not just like any other pickup course, because what this is actually a combination of all of my best courses. So you're going to receive inside of the Holy Grail Pickup Collection, you're going to receive Thrive, my day game course. You're going to receive Dating PhD, which is some of the deep dive, really long form content. A lot of you tend to be very analytical and you like to really understand concepts. And so in this program, I include not only my ultimate first date formula, but also so much deep dive content. You can find all of the different modules over at holygrailpickupcollection.com. You're also going to receive Engage, which is my full-length course teaching you guys how to have engaging conversations with women. This is going to apply to dates. This will apply to day game, night game, even online game. It really doesn't matter. Even when you have a girlfriend, I have been coaching guys for so long now that I have been able to identify, and I was able to identify years ago, that one of the biggest issues that you probably have if you struggle with women is your ability to have an engaging conversation with them. When you're talking to women, does it ever feel like they're losing interest? Does it ever feel like it's hard to get them to pay attention to you? Do you ever see a girl start to glance down at her phone while you're talking to her? Well, unfortunately, it's because nobody's ever really taught you how to be an engaging speaker, an engaging storyteller. So in all of these programs, my night game course, Poll, the Lost Tapes, Online Game Decoded, all of these courses, you are also going to receive, I believe it comes out to about 55 infield videos. So my infield videos, if you're new here to this podcast, my infield videos are fucking incredible. Now, tons of them. We have some for free over on the Evolution Daily YouTube channel, but so many of them had to be removed from the internet. That's a whole nother story. If you've been around for a long time, then you know why, but they had to be wiped clean. And the only way that I can give you access to these infields is inside of the Holy Grail Pickup Collection. So what these infields are these are me. Actually, these are hidden camera videos of me going out in both daytime and nighttime, opening, having mid-game conversation, going all the way to close with, again, over 50 women in these infields. And why these are so powerful is because anybody can just tell you what to do. And that's incredibly important. What you're going to get in just the modules of the actual learning modules, the content, that's all incredibly important as well. But being able to watch me in the field has changed the lives of so many of my students. Now, I've had guys on the boot camps that say, wow, just being able to see you in that set was life-changing. And I've had guys that actually just get the courses instead of spending the thousands of dollars to be on the program and actually have seen me in the field in these videos. Smooth transitions. You get to steal my openers, steal my lines. Guys over the years, so many of them have told me that all they've had to do to get good at game is watch these in-field videos, replicate what I'm doing in the field, and from there, they're able to get the same results that I'm getting. I have taken game and simplified it down to easy to follow formulas and methods inside all of these courses that are inside of the Holy Grail Pickup Collection. Now, I forget exactly how much it is, but I believe there's about 50 hours of content inside of the Holy Grail Pickup Collection. This is not some quick little ebook. This is not some bullshit little scam ass course that you're going to get from one of these other mofos out here trying to sling you some. I mean, this is the culmination of years and years of failure, of successes, of lessons, of epiphanies, of me going on date after date after date and figuring out what exactly works on dates. Me going out into the field night after night, day after day, and figuring out exactly what works best. You are going to receive so much, not only that you're going to learn, but also that you're going to be able to watch and see. You're going to be able to watch these infields. I'm going to show you just how easy it can be to follow these formulas inside of the Holy Grail Pickup Collection, and you will be able to get the same results that I've gotten over the years. I went from a 290-pound fat, broke pizza delivery guy who literally ended up having sex with, I think, 2 very unattractive girls before I discovered the game. And now I've slept with hundreds of women. I've dated a lot of different girls. I've had threesomes. I've gone to, I mean, I don't even know why I was going to start getting into this. Well, I've gone to crazy, weird sex clubs. I mean, just crazy, crazy experiences, right? Hooked up with a lot of girls that I met same day, tons that I've met same night. I mean, crazy, crazy experiences that you can't even fathom. Girls that I used to look at and I would just think, wow, somebody out there is hooking up with that girl. I can't believe that somebody's hooking up with this girl. This French model that I hooked up with in Santa Monica, California, who I had met through a day game cold approach. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, but there's so many of these experiences that you can be having if you really if you understood what to do and how to do it and you were able to see it in action. So head over to holygrailpickupcollection.com. Sign up today if you have not done so already and enjoy the rest of this podcast. Wow, that's amazing. I completely agree, and I think that just the mere act of if you could just get some of the basics down. I'm not talking about
basics. You're already so far ahead.
10 conversational stacks and none of that. If you can get the basics down and really talk to a lot of women and go for numbers and go for polls and those things, you already stand out from so many other dudes.
You're already in the top 20%.
I have pulled from clubs, hot girls where look around. There's at least 50 other guys in here way better looking than me. There's at least fucking at the wharf in Miami. I promise you, I ended up pulling on Saturday night. I promise you, I could have easily found 50 other dudes taller, better looking than me. All there is to it. However, I'm the one that was putting myself out there. And so many men have such an ego about that. So many men want to just be I'm more into, really focusing on my value and women will come to me. And that's great. If you could eventually reach some sort of celebrity status or something to that nature where women come to you, that's amazing. I'm just going to go have fun and talk to a lot of women and make that happen for myself. It's so much of game absolutely gets misperceived as being a grind, hard work, putting in the hours, punching the clock. And at the end of the day, going out, ideally with wings or friends, if you go out solo too, though, that's fucking awesome as well. Yeah. But if you're going out with people, without people, and meeting the masses around this life energy, talking to chicks, it's supposed to be a good time. And then hopefully something comes from it. And that's what game is.
We used to have a term for that back in the old pickup artist days. I know you love it when a granddaddy talks about the old days, but
yeah. And real quick, I do just want to say to anybody watching or listening to this, if you go back, listen to the original episode with Dan Silverman, where we got really deep. The whole thing was about your old school PUA days. You were the, what was your name? The Joker?
Jester.
Jester PUA. Okay. All right. Wait, go ahead and continue that. But I wanted to make sure they knew they could listen to that.
Yeah, sure. Okay, cool. Yeah. So, oh man, you see, you made me lose my train of thought. What was I just saying, man? What were we talking about?
Shit. I was talking all about how it's really important to stand out so much. Now. Go ahead.
I know now. Okay. So we had an old term for it back in the old days. We called it beginner's hell. It's like boot camp for the military. And you know what? I think it still exists and every guy's got to go through it. I think you would really appreciate this too. But part of becoming a man is going through that shit. All the awful rejections that you have to let your ego get beat up and bruised. It's part of becoming a man is getting your ass kicked and standing up after it and being proud of yourself that you did it. Because you don't want to be that guy that sees that beautiful woman and at the wharf and then not talk to her and go home at night, jack off and think, fuck, why I wish I would have talked to her. It is better to walk up and her tell you to fuck off than it is to wonder what will happen. Because at least you had the courage to go and talk to her and find out that she was a bitch. Right. So beginner's hell is a real thing. And you could get out of it fast if you really just attack it and go through it. But yes, eventually at some point you have to learn how to make it fun. You do have to make it fun because then it'll just be big beginner's hell forever. But I think the point where it starts to become fun is where you really don't give a shit if you get rejected. That's when it becomes fun. When you're totally fine with rejection and you play with it. You have fun with it. I've even seen it in some of your infields when, a girl like does a rejection or whatever. Oh, I'm going to do this. And you have fun with it and you fuck with her a little bit. Like you actually have fun with it. And guys have to learn how to do that,
Yeah. I on a lot of my boot camps, especially this past weekend, I do a thing where if a girl rejects you, I make you just start begging her and saying, please, please, like, please love me. Please. I need this. I need this. Yeah. And it's so ridiculous and feels so crazy that even though there's this, the thing is there's actually a tiny little voice back there that actually is like, please like me, please, whatever. So when you give that thought a voice and you're, please, I need this, it makes you realize how ridiculous that thought is. And it's so fun. So dude, I feel like we could talk forever. I wrote down a note. I'll definitely have you back on because there's so much I want to even keep talking about here with game and stuff. But I wrote a note a little bit ago that I'm really curious about. Sure. We were talking a lot about the matchmaking, of course, and then men staying in relationships because they pretty much have to. Have you ever had a married woman or man come to you for help and basically they're saying, I want to get a divorce soon, but I need to make sure that I could meet somebody, or I almost want to meet somebody before the divorce because they want a monkey branch. Because they they can't even fathom that idea of being married for 10 years and now alone again and how scary that could be. Have you ever had that?
I haven't had that. I do see people do that. The closest I've had to that is I would have a woman or a man come to me who's separated but not legally divorced, seeking a new partner. And I'm like, the ink isn't dry in your divorce papers yet. And you want me to set you up with people that are looking to get married. That's going to be very difficult. You need to finalize your divorce and then I'll help you, So yeah, because the people that are looking for something serious, they're going to see somebody who doesn't even have a finalized divorce and be like, well, if this person is serious, why haven't they completed the divorce yet? And that reflects me as a matchmaker that I work with people like that. So I can't do that. That would tarnish my reputation. But no, never like they're still married and, hey, do you have somebody for me that I can monkey branch to? No one has ever had the audacity to do that.
Yeah. I've never had somebody married doing that, but I've had a guy that was in a relationship who it wasn't even so much because of not being able to fathom the idea of being alone or anything like that, but he just truly was, he was saying that it was just nearing its end and that he basically said that he needed to get out there and cheat to see if like that's really what he wants. That was his thing. Is like he had been with this woman for like 4 or 5 years, and he basically just he wanted to. He had other women on the mind constantly, and he's like, I need to get out and date a little bit because I need to find out. Oh, do I end up on a date or hooking up with this girl and realize, oh my God, like I'm so done with my girlfriend? Or do I just get it out of my system and realize like, no, I want to make things work long-term with this chick. So it was a very interesting situation.
What did you tell him?
Well, he had divulged this to me while already on my boot camp. And so at that point, I felt I was there to serve really whatever his desires were. And so I treated him like any other client in the sense that your relationship, whatever you've got going on in the background, none of my business. Right. I'm going to show you how to grind with these girls, dance with these girls, make out, and hopefully pull. So that was how I treated it.
Yeah. Well, what advice did you give him? I mean, let's say you got a guy who asked that question. Like, what would you tell him? Would you tell him like, maybe you should try that, see how it is? Or, hey, if you're already having these thoughts, you should break up, or maybe you should communicate your part. Like, what would be your advice for somebody like that?
So if I'm being just completely honest and not thinking
totally
to
clinical,
myself about what is if I'm thinking like, what is, if I'm not concerned right now with what do I believe the most correct advice, politically correct, what kind of want to hear. What I would truly tell him, honest to God, is, and I probably did say this, but is I think that's kind of a good idea. And what I mean is similar to what we said earlier about the way that a man can be in love with a woman and go fuck 3 girls on a vacation and come home and
Yeah.
still
And
love
still
her
love her to
just
death.
as much, just as much. But now what happened is he got that out of his system. And I do think that as much as I'd love to sit here and be like, everything is about authenticity and honesty and everything, like I love that idea, but I kind of lean a little more towards the old Dane Cook joke where Dane Cook talks about how he saw this, couple with like a cane and they're 90 years old and they're hobbling into a restaurant together. And he goes up and he says to the man, what's the secret to keeping this marriage together for so long? You're still so in love. And the old man whispers in my ear, you have to cheat. You have to cheat. And I think that there's a lot of times where people leave a relationship because of this primal sexual fucking desire that's just, it's so encoded, and then they regret it because then they fuck a couple chicks and they're like, why did I do that? So yes, maybe eventually going to the girlfriend, going to the wife and saying, baby, I love you, I want to be with you so bad. What if a couple times a year? What if once a year? What if we go to a swingers club together? What if we keep it together? What if we get a prostitute for a threesome? What if we just do something to open this up and I could still love you forever? So if a guy came to me and said that, I would say, you know what, man, test the waters. See what it feels like to hook up with another girl. Do you hate yourself afterwards and then realize, oh my God, I love my baby? Or do you say, wow, I needed that. I'm realizing now how unsatisfied I am by my girlfriend and I'm going to get out of it.
It's an interesting perspective. It's sort of like I'm cheating on you to help the relationship because I'll be more loyal and faithful to you if I hook up with somebody. And you know what? For some guys, if they just get that out of their system, yeah, I can understand that perspective. But I get what you're saying.
And I will say this too, is that I believe that exact arrangement exists a lot more than we think it does.
Absolutely. I think especially here with like Latin people, there's an underlying kind of thing that goes on where they know their boyfriend is cheating. They don't want to know about it. Don't embarrass me. Don't let me hear it. Don't let me see it. I know you're doing something. I talk about like the jealous, possessive Latina. It's because they always think their boyfriends are cheating, but they stay with them anyway. They just don't ever want to catch them.
And what you said, and what you said there is so important because you're right. The biggest thought on most women's mind is don't embarrass me.
Mm-hmm. Most
women, if they had to choose between their husband fucking 10 women, but no one ever finds out, or fucking one, and now her family finds out, and now she has to be engulfed in all that, she would easily have you fuck 10 other women. So I think that arrangement of, listen, I'm going to be here for you. You're my fucking girl. You're my wife. I'm your husband. Every once in a while when I'm on the road, I think you have this with like celebrities. You have this with maybe even famous comedians.
Yeah.
There's been famous comedians who get caught cheating, but then they're still in their marriage. And it's like, well, did they do a lot of like therapy, or is it that the wife like loves him, he loves her, and he fucks every once in a while? So I think that arrangement exists a lot.
Yeah, but that's the key word is arrangement. Because if you say arrangement, that means it's sort of like kind of said, it's kind of understood that this is what's up. But not every guy has enough value in the eyes of their girlfriend that they can do something like that and still keep the woman. You know what I mean? Like not every guy is able to do that. Only guys who already come pre-selected by women can usually get away with something like that. So like if you have a woman who's with a guy, she doesn't believe that he can get other women, and then he does that, she probably will leave him. But you ever heard the saying, a woman will never leave you unless she knows it's going to hurt you? You ever heard that?
Wow. No, I've never heard that. Wow.
If there's a possibility that she can be replaced, and this is really dark game here, guys, so don't abuse this shit. But if she feels that it won't hurt you if she leaves, she's not going to do it.
That's very true. And that's why my advice, it also kind of in that dark vein, I'm team men. And as much as I wish to live in a world where I could give advice that is always going to be the absolute best for both genders, both sexes.
Mhm.
Um, I do think that it would be a better idea for most men who have that on the mind, who are like, I've been with this girl for 8 years. I am fiending for some new puss. I think it would be a better idea for that man to go out and do that than it would
Mhm.
be to just break up right away and see what comes from that. Uh, so, hey, gentlemen, if you're out there and you're in that situation, hit up me and Dan. We'll help you get back out there.
Say your team man. I work with both men and women, so I'm team mercenary. I will help whoever's paying me. You know what I'm saying? I would say
Right.
I lean more to the guys because I'm a guy. But if a woman is going to pay me and she's dating somebody, I'm gonna absolutely help her conquer that guy if that's what she wants. You
Right.
know,
And
I'm
and and the
contracted for
advice
service.
and exactly. No, I agree. And the advice is going to be different for the sexes. What you told me, right?
Very different,
If so different. Like the advice.
vastly different.
If I have a man paying me and a woman paying me, and the man says to me, "Do I try to have sex with a girl the first date?" Yes, absolutely. Have sex with her as
Absolutely, yeah.
fast as you can because
Yes.
of all the chemical release and the
It
connection.
puts you in the power position.
Woman says to me, "Do I have sex first date?" Wait 5. Wait 5 fucking dates. Is
Not every
my
woman can get
advice.
away with that though. Just like not every guy can get away with, being able to like hook up with other partners and getting away with it. Not every woman can let a guy
Mm,
wait 5 days. Some women don't have enough relationship value to be able to make the guy wait, especially a woman who it's very clear she's not a virgin, or at least has a very low body count. Because some guys can really
mhm.
sense that. Guys are not stupid anymore. We know if the woman is making us wait to play a game with us, or if she's indeed actually very concerned about doing that and she only has sex with guys she deeply cares about. We can tell. I think most men can tell. Can you, or you think you agree with that?
Yeah, no, you're spot on. I agree definitely with the term relationship value.
Mhm.
You're right about that. Whether we're going to be looking at attractiveness, age, does she already have kids? Does she not?
Mhm.
You're totally right that there's going to be some women where if they make a man wait 5 dates, it's like, oh, I want her so bad. Oh my God. And then
Some
other
guys.
women with lower relationship value that is making that same guy wait 5 dates. And he's like, fuck, I ain't going to keep going to dinner
Yeah.
with you. I'm not going to keep
Yeah. I
hanging
mean,
out
would
with
you
you.
go past like 2 or 3 dates to a girl that you just kind of want to sleep with and you don't care to be in a long-term relationship with?
It depends on the quality of the woman. It depends on
Depends on
the
the quality of the woman.
It massively depends. I mean,
Mhm.
I will never forget. There's a couple girls in my life where they weren't sleeping with me, and it was pissing me off so much. I'm like, "This fuck, are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah.
And it was just driving me crazy. And then when we did fuck, it was just magic. It was unicorns falling from the sky. And then every moment of that relationship with that woman, there's like two coming to mind. One that I was seeing for about 6 months, and then one that was like almost a year. But especially the one that I was seeing for about 6 months, the fact that I had to earn her so heavily at the beginning.
Mhm.
And once we fucked, I mean, we fucked like animals. She's a sex addict. We're two sex
Mhm.
addicts, just fucking nonstop. But the fact that I had to work for her and earn her so much at the beginning and that she didn't give herself to me, I think it permanently assigned a value to her that otherwise wouldn't be there. And it's not a value I could control. I never judge women at all negatively for fucking the first date. I want you to
Yeah.
fuck
I
me on the
actually
first
prefer
date.
it if they do it because it means that they have genuine desire for me.
Me too. Trust me. I fully fucking agree. But it was a feeling that I could never shake of like, wow, I really earned her and it made her more valuable to me. And
Yeah.
I do believe that there are a lot of women out here who, again, sick of hookup culture, sick of always kind of just being used for sex, that they fuck right away. And that's kind of who they are. And I think they need to
Mhm.
stop being that. I think they need to
Mhm.
wait a couple dates.
Well, let's go ahead and give some advice to the one female viewer or listener that you have. So I get this question a lot from women actually. And so I kind of have like a nice general rule of thumb for them. I always like to say like when should you have sex? So I tell a woman, well, you should have sex when you know it's gonna be good. Because guys don't leave women that give them amazing sex. So if you know you're not
Mm.
going to do a good job, you're not comfortable at it, you don't feel a close enough connection with him, then don't do it. And here's how you frame not having sex, so that way the guy doesn't feel like you're playing a game. Because I think that when men feel like they're being manipulated by the woman, they're having a game played on them, they lose respect, and instead of pursuing the woman romantically, they pursue the woman to fuck, because now she's become an obstacle. So the best way to frame it is that you really like that person, you like that person a lot, and you are actually afraid to have sex. Like, it's a fear of yours. You don't want things to end, or you like the guy so much that you're actually afraid. And while you really do want to, and the guy turns you on like crazy, you don't feel emotionally ready for it yet. And you want to feel closer to him because you feel like you could possibly get attached. Being really vulnerable like that tends to melt the heart of a guy, unless of course he's a sociopath. But that tends to melt the heart of a guy, and a guy's much more likely to wait if that's the frame that you're presenting, rather than, like, say, for example, you guys are in the pool grinding on each other and she's making out with you and she's like really just getting you worked up. And then you're like finally in the bedroom and you're like, no, I don't want to do this. I think it's too early to have sex. And then a guy's going to think that you're just like a cock tease, and that's not cool. Guys don't like that shit. We don't like that shit at all. It's like frustrating.
That was incredible advice, man. I'm not. I swear to God. Like, while you
I
were
work
saying
with women
it,
too,
like,
man.
I was like, holy shit! I love everything you said there.
How can you say no to that? Like,
no
oh, she was so vulnerable to me.
No schedule, no time limit, no this day, that day. It's just when you think it's going to be good. And for so many women, they know, oh, I'm not going to feel open and vulnerable. I'm going to feel very tense and nervous. So fucking on the first day isn't for me. And then other girls that are fully in their sexual energy, maybe they love it. Like, it's fresh, it's new. I don't even know you. This is hot. So that's amazing advice, man. And now when women ask me in my life that question, I'm going to give them that same advice and attribute it to you. And the other thing here, I mean, not to just totally repeat everything you just said, but then the part that I thought was so powerful as well was the woman telling the man, giving him that frame of vulnerability. Listen, I like to wait until I feel very open towards you. I'm not saying it's going to take a long time, but if we had sex on the first day, I would feel very physically self-conscious, maybe, like those types of things. Maybe
most men would be shocked by that, because most women are not that emotionally vulnerable and open. And that's what makes us respect women, is the fact that they're so vulnerable with us. It triggers that protective instinct that we have as men. You know, we naturally innately want to protect women. That's why white knights exist. So if they come to us and they actually demonstrate that, it really melts our hearts. You know what I mean?
I would respect that so much if a woman said that to me, and I'd be like, wow. Instead of like you said, grinding at the club, in bed, pants coming off, I can't do this, I don't want to do it. What the fuck? Why are you here,
man? They're playing a game with me, man. Fuck you, right? I know you fucked a guy before on the first night, especially the way you grind my dick. I know that's not the first time you did that. And you're going to tell me I got to wait. That scumbag that you slept with in Jamaica didn't have to wait. But for me, because you see me as boyfriend material, now you're going to do that? Fuck you. Okay, I'll just act like a scumbag then, and that'll get me laid. And that's oftentimes what guys kind of realize. So ladies, you know, like, be emotionally vulnerable. Go ahead and say that stuff. It's going to work. It's going to do a much better job. Don't cock tease him. Yes, we're very motivated by sex, but just because we want to have sex with you doesn't mean we want to keep you or stick around. Okay. We have two separate standards: women we want to sleep with, and you have to be that kind of woman in order to even be considered girlfriend material, and women that we actually want to wife up. We have much higher standards for the woman we want to wife up.
Dan Silverman, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, if you want to follow Dan, you can add him on Facebook. You post content on Facebook. It's Dan Silverman on
the Miami
Facebook.
Matchmaker.
Miami Matchmaker. And the website again is
matchmakingmiami.com. I also have a YouTube channel, the Miami Matchmaker.
Yes, and we did do you have your show on there? We did a show together on your channel. We did a
show together. It's still on there, of course, yeah. And we did another one on yours, so we've done this before.
Yep. So if you guys want to listen to either of those episodes, you can head over to Dan Silverman, Miami Matchmaker on YouTube. The channel will come up, and then we've got the older episode. I don't remember, probably around episode 100 or so of my podcast. And this will all be video from now on. We actually only did an audio episode, so that can be found on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all of that. So Dan, thanks for being on the show, man. It was awesome as always.
A pleasure, man. Thanks for inviting me.
We'll have you back on.
All right. You can drag me to the Domain area next time I see you in Austin.
Next episode is in person. I'm coming back to Miami. Miami, I'll be there January 21st, whatever. We'll squeeze it in, even if it's between like 2 of my boot camp sessions.
I might be in Austin, bro.
You know what? I'll hit up the students. We're moving that boot camp to Austin. Let's go. We're going to Austin.
Yeah, man. It'll be fun.
All right, man. Thanks for being here. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks a lot, man.